My will is your will. That's what I'll help you understand today. You don't need your own will. I'll help you understand why you don't want it or need it. Binding your will to mine through small, thin, white threads. Like a spider, I weave my thread all around you, feeling the sensation of it, of this white, silky thread binding you as you certainly try to resist and fight it. I fully encourage and welcome your resistance, 'cause in the end, that only makes the bond stronger and strengthens my will as it becomes yours. What I want, you want. What I say, you do. What I command, you obey. You want to keep your eyes open. If you want to have any chance of resisting, you want to focus on not feeling the threads on your wrists, thin, silky white threads that are almost invisible. If it wasn't for the barely visible glimpse as the light reflects on them, you'd think you're being tied up by invisible thread. You try to move your wrists, feeling it with each single motion you make. Feel the thread binding you with every movement, and you ask yourself, why are you fighting? Why are you actually resisting? Wouldn't it be better to take a break? Wouldn't it feel nice to allow your own will to take a break, to allow it to rest, and let someone else in the driver's seat? Why not let me bind you, bind your will to mine, and let me guide you? Doesn't that sound nice? Feeling the threads weaving such pretty patterns on your arm. You see the white silky thread weaving an intricate pattern as it binds itself to your arm. A pretty hypnotic pattern where the threads intersect with themselves, moving and spinning onto themselves in a way that makes it hard to trace the pattern, to try and find its start from its end. You still have some fight left in you. You still want to resist, even if it's just to make the inevitable drop strong. You want to take your time in giving in, but the pattern is making it impossible to do that for long, as your eyes pick a starting point, trying to trace, in hopes of finding the origin of the thread. Your eyes move along with the thread, following it as it intertwines with itself. Going left, or is it right? Does it go forward or move backward? such a complex but pretty pattern that's so easy to get lost in. As you do, as your eyes continue to follow the pattern in a futile attempt that does nothing but get you quite floaty, that it's so hard to resist me anymore. You close your eyes in a last-ditch effort to stop yourself from succumbing to my will, but that does nothing to help with the pattern, now ingrained in your mind, that it stands out in your mind more, and you find yourself continuing to follow the thread and getting much more disoriented and lost in it. You try to move your arms now, but you feel with every single motion the threads bind in your arms and wrists, feeling quite docile and good with the threads in this pattern on your hand, understanding that the point of them is not to tie you up, but to use the thread and pattern as a representation of how my will is becoming your will, and how you find that what I want is what you want, what I say is what you do, and what I command is what you obey. All that's left to complete this binding is to have the threads connect, feeling them reaching out to the back of your neck, creating the patterns as they go along, understanding that once they are fully intertwined, that marks the point where your will takes a break, where your will is not needed for a time, and my will takes its place. My will becomes your will. You become bound to my will. You find that any and all else that's been on your mind is gone. It no longer has a place in your mind, and you no longer need it there. You understand that when my will becomes yours, all you'll want to do is listen and obey, feeling the tingles on the back of your neck, sending shivers down your spine. Wonderful, relaxing tingles that have your whole body melt to them. It's so good that you can't help but smile. Smile as you feel the threads of silk weaving their way to connect to one another, coming up from your left shoulder as well as your right one, moving closer and closer together on the back of your neck, feeling goosebumps and tingles just from them, and loving how that feels, smiling as you accept the threads, accept the patterns, and accept my will, feeling them connected now, feeling them on the back of your neck now as you open your eyes. Open your eyes and stare vacantly into nothingness, smiling softly, knowing that this is how binding wills feels. My will is your will, and that makes you feel so good. Your will bound to mine. What I want, you want. What I say, you do. What I command, you obey. This freedom is what you wanted. It's what you've been seeking. This is the break you've been in such a dire need for. And you feel amazing now. Now that you no longer have a will of your own. Knowing well that every time my will becomes your will, every time I bind your will to mine, the bond grows stronger, it grows more effective, and you love that freedom of all but my voice. Knowing that hearing my voice at any time has this effect on you. It makes you feel yourself so docile and happy to just nod along as you do what I say, binding your will to mine. This is what you feel. This is what you want, and once I snap my fingers, you'll blink a few times as you wake up and realize how good and happy you feel when my will is your will.